My name is Amara, and when I was 19, the world felt like it weighed a ton on my shoulders, a heavy stone pressing down on every dream I dared to whisper. I lived in a small, bustling corner of Nairobi, where the scent of roasting maize mixed with the exhaust fumes of Mad Hatters, and the sounds of laughter and hawkers' cries filled the air from sunrise to sunset. My family's home was a single room we shared, a cozy space filled with love but little else. Every morning, before the sun even thought about stretching its golden fingers across the sky, I would wake up, help my mother prepare the day's meal, and then rush to the local market to assist my father with his stall, selling fresh vegetables. My hands, though young, knew the feel of rough burlap sacks and the weight of a busy day. But even with all the hard work, the constant question of how we would make ends meet was a silent hum beneath everything. My true escape, my quiet joy, was buried in books. I devoured them, borrowing worn copies from the community library, the pages smelling of old paper and countless other hands. Numbers and words danced for me, making sense of a world that often felt chaotic. I spent every spare moment studying, late into the night, by the dim glow of a paraffin lamp, dreaming of a future that felt almost impossible from where I stood. My grades were always at the very top, a source of fierce pride for my parents, who spoke of my intelligence as if it were a rare jewel. They believed in me, and that belief was both my greatest strength and my heaviest burden. My dream, the one that kept me going through long days and short nights, was to attend university. I longed to study mathematics to unlock its secrets, and use that knowledge to build a better life for my family, to finally lift that heavy stone from my parents' tired shoulders. But the truth was, university fees were a mountain I simply couldn't see over, let alone climb. The tuition for just the first year felt like a king's ransom, an amount so far beyond our reach that even mentioning it often brought a cloud of sadness to my mother's eyes. This was my internal nemesis, the gnawing doubt that whispered in my ear late at night. "You are brilliant, Amara, but brilliance isn't enough when there is no money. You will be stuck here, just like everyone else. Your dreams are too big for this life." That fear, that a lifetime of hard work and academic excellence would amount to nothing, was a constant companion, shadowing my every step. I tried everything I could think of to improve our situation and bridge the gap to my dream. I applied for every scholarship I could find, filling out forms with careful handwriting, pouring my heart into essays about my aspirations and our struggles. Each application felt like a tiny beacon of hope, a fragile prayer sent out into the world. I took on extra shifts at the market, haggling with more confidence, carrying heavier loads, saving every shilling I earned. I even helped a neighbor with their tailoring business in the evenings, threading needles and cutting fabric until my fingers ached. My parents, seeing my determination, tried their best too. My father worked longer hours, and my mother started selling small handmade crafts, her nimble fingers weaving intricate patterns. We pooled every spare coin into a small tin box we kept hidden under a loose floorboard. Every time we dropped a coin in, it felt like a tiny victory against the overwhelming odds. But the rejections started coming in, one by one, quiet envelopes filled with polite regrets. "While your academic record is exceptional," they would always say, "we had a record number of applicants this year." Each letter was a small puncture in my balloon of hope, letting out a little bit of the air, making my dream feel lighter, harder to hold onto. The money in the tin box grew slowly, painfully slowly, like a desert plant reaching for scarce water. We were nowhere near the amount needed, and the deadline for university registration was drawing closer with terrifying speed. Just when I thought I couldn't face another rejection, a distant relative, Auntie Lee, who lived far away in another town, offered us a glimmer of hope. She said she might be able to loan us a small portion, enough to cover at least a deposit if we could find the rest. It wasn't everything, but it felt like a crack of light in the deepening darkness. I worked even harder, my resolve renewed, pushing past the exhaustion. I started tutoring younger children in my neighborhood, helping them with their homework, earning a few extra shillings here and there. I felt a surge of energy, picturing myself in a lecture hall, finally sitting at a university desk. I began to tell myself, "You can do this, Amara, you are almost there." But then, just a week before the university's final deadline, a cruel twist of fate struck. My grandmother, who lived in a nearby village, suddenly fell very ill. She needed medicine, urgent care that cost more money than we could ever imagine. Without a moment's hesitation, my parents took every single shilling from our tin box, every coin we had painstakingly saved, and sent it to her. It was the only choice, of course. Family always comes first, but watching that money leave our home felt like watching my dream physically float away, an untethered balloon disappearing into the vast sky. Auntie Lee's loan was no longer enough. There was no deposit, no remaining amount for tuition. My grandmother's health was improving, which brought a bittersweet relief, but my university dream was truly shattered. I sat alone that night, the paraffin lamp casting long, flickering shadows on the walls, and the tears came silently, uncontrollably. I wasn't just sad, I was utterly defeated. The weight of the world had not just pressed me down, it had crushed me. My internal nemesis roared, "This is it, Amara. This is your end. You tried, but it was never going to be enough. Some dreams are just not meant for people like us." Giving up seemed like the only logical choice, a surrender to a fate I felt powerless to change. The next morning, feeling hollowed out and utterly lost, I walked through the busy streets, my head down, not really seeing the vibrant chaos around me. I felt like a ghost, disconnected from the world. I found myself at the community library, the one place that had always offered me solace. I wasn't going to check out books. I was going to return a stack of old textbooks I had borrowed for exam preparation, hoping to maybe make a few shillings by selling them second-hand to younger students. As I gathered the books, a worn copy of a mathematics textbook, one I had used more than any other, slipped from my hands and fell open on the dusty floor. I bent down to pick it up, and that's when I saw it. Tucked neatly between the worn pages, where I had once underlined a particularly challenging equation, was an envelope. It was plain, unassuming, with nothing written on the outside. My heart gave a strange little lurch, a mix of curiosity and weary indifference. I picked it up, my fingers trembling slightly, and opened it. Inside, nestled amongst a few crisp, folded papers, was a check made out to the university, for my full first year's tuition. My name was clearly printed on it, Amara, but the sender's name was left completely blank, just a space where a signature should have been, next to the words "Gift for Amara." My breath caught in my throat. I blinked, then blinked again, convinced my eyes were playing tricks on me, that this was some cruel hallucination born from my despair. I looked around the empty corner of the library, but there was no one. The librarian was busy at the main desk, far away. My hands started to shake uncontrollably, and a strange, choked sound escaped my lips. It was real. This was real. An anonymous act of kindness, a complete stranger had reached out and pulled me back from the brink. It was a miracle, a genuine miracle. I stared at the check, then back at my name, a wave of overwhelming emotion washing over me. It felt like the universe itself, through the hands of a kind stranger, was telling me, "Do not give up, Amara. Your dreams are not too big." With the anonymous check clutched tightly in my hand, my heart pounding a rhythm of disbelief and soaring hope, I walked straight to the university admissions office. Every step felt like a leap of faith, a step into a future I had only dared to dream of. I presented the check, and to my astonishment, it was valid. The administrators looked at me with kind eyes, perhaps used to seeing the struggles of students like me. I registered that very day, my name finally etched onto the university's rolls, not just in my dreams. My new normal began with the scent of old books in the library, the stimulating discussions in lecture halls, and the feeling of belonging somewhere truly special. University was everything I had imagined and more. I poured myself into my studies, determined to honor the incredible gift I had received. I knew that someone, somewhere, had believed in me enough to change my entire life, and I resolved to make that belief count. I didn't just study, I excelled. I learned not only mathematics, but also the profound power of human connection, of selfless generosity. The kindness shown to me wasn't just a financial gift, it was a profound lesson in hope and the ripple effect one person can create. After my first year, I started tutoring other students, especially those struggling with mathematics. I didn't charge them, I simply offered my time and knowledge, remembering how much I had wished for an easier path, how much I had craved understanding. I told them my story, about the anonymous check, about how one act of kindness had paved my way. Slowly, a small group of us, students who had overcome various challenges, began to meet. We called ourselves the Pathfinders, and we started a mentorship program for younger students from less privileged backgrounds, helping them navigate scholarship applications and offering academic support. We shared resources, advice, and most importantly, hope. We reminded them that their dreams were valid, no matter their circumstances. Seeing their faces light up with understanding, watching them gain confidence, filled me with a joy that rivaled even my own acceptance into university. It was my way of paying it forward, of ensuring that the kindness shown to me didn't stop with me, but flowed outward into the community, creating new opportunities for others. Years have passed since that day. I graduated with honors, and I now work as an analyst, using my love for numbers to help businesses grow in our beautiful city. I still live in Nairobi, but my family's life is much more comfortable now. My parents no longer have to worry about the daily struggle for food or rent, and my younger siblings are all in school, dreaming their own big dreams. The tin box under the floorboard is now a piggy bank for my nephew, holding coins for his future. But the most profound change isn't just in my circumstances, it's in my heart. I never found out who left that check. The university records were sealed for anonymity, and I never saw a single clue. Sometimes I still wonder who that kind soul was, what moved them to such generosity. Was it a professor who noticed my dedication at the library? A neighbor who heard whispers of my plight? I might never know. But in a strange twist of fate, just last week, as I was walking through the very same community library, I noticed a young boy, no older than 10, sitting in a quiet corner, utterly absorbed in a worn mathematics textbook, his brow furrowed in concentration. He had a look in his eyes that I recognized instantly, a burning hunger for knowledge, a quiet determination. I paused, watching him for a moment, and then without thinking, I reached into my bag. I took out a crisp new 20-shilling note, folded it neatly, and tucked it inside a book on a nearby shelf, a book I knew he would soon reach for. It wasn't a university tuition, not yet, but it was a small spark, a gentle nudge, a quiet affirmation that someone, somewhere, believed in his potential. As I walked out of the library, a profound sense of peace settled over me, a feeling of deep connection to something much larger than myself. I smiled, knowing that the ripples of kindness, once started, never truly end. They just keep moving, touching lives, proving that even in the toughest times, things truly do get better, one act of selfless generosity at a time.